Welcome to the Relentless Road Podcast. Welcome to episode number 56 of the Relentless Road Podcast. It is April 12th as we sit here. My name is Tim Scrivener. Reset for some of you if you have not been following the podcast. This is a podcast where we hope to inspire, delight, educate, and motivate you in whatever way, whatever lifestyle change you're trying to make. And we're doing it with the background of Ryan McDonald's story. Ryan at one time weighed roughly 550 pounds, lost about 300 pounds, did some amazing things, half marathons, triathlons, rode his motorcycle in the Baja 1000. Then he came back home, gained a couple hundred pounds back. And so now we're back in the journey. So we're kind of using his story as the backdrop as we meander all over the place. But my name is Tim Scrivener. I am joined by Ryan McDonald.
Hey.
And we have Jennifer here with a big 7-Eleven Chillers. What is that?
Let's not talk about that.
What is a 7-Eleven Chillers? She tries to
like,
hide it from the
like
video.
Coffee.
The thing about video now we can actually see what's going on.
Yeah.
Is it iced coffee or?
Yes, it's iced coffee, and it probably has quite a bit of sugar in it, but I didn't care. I've had a pretty good week, and it sounded good.
Okay, well, hey, whatever works. So what's a good week for you? You said you had a good week. Is that, you talking about diet? You talking about exercise?
Eating. Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah.
Exercise is the
Exercise,
given.
like, yeah, that's
that's
just.
I got my
that's my
43,000 steps
OCD.
today.
Okay, but so as we're recording this, it is Thursday, and so you're generally a little more loose on the weekends, right? I'm not judging you. I'm just trying to.
No.
Oh, you eat the same on the weekend as you do on the week?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, no,
I mean, maybe like Friday night I might have. Yeah, we might do something.
So it's a meal. It's not a weekend.
No.
Okay.
No. It makes me sick. I can't eat like that.
Well, no, and it's so many people they do. It's, man, I've done so good this week, and I'm not. This is obviously not you, Jen, but it is the come Thursday I deserve, and then all of a sudden now when you look at it, they roll that through Sunday. So then 4 of the 7 days. But by golly, Monday through Wednesday, I was right on. I don't know. I don't know why I ain't
3
losing
days.
weight.
Now we only got 3 days.
Exactly.
No, I can't do that.
Doesn't work for you?
No.
Well, it does work for a lot of people, apparently, because I just happened to stumble across the brand new list for 2018's fattest cities. And they send these out. You know, the CDC, in conjunction with probably a bunch of other governmental agencies that we don't know about, are tracking our girth and our obesity and our habits. And I guess they
through
go
Facebook?
through. Mark Zuckerberg is.
If only
supplying
people
them
weighed
with
every week on Facebook, that'd be stupid.
Who would do that?
Who would weigh every week on Facebook?
But basically, it looks like they rank it and they create a score based on obesity and overweight rank, and then health consequences. So I'm assuming that's the prevalence of type 2 diabetes, the prevalence of heart disease, all that good stuff, and then food and drink rank. So I'm not sure. I haven't looked in enough to see what that actually, if it's what they're consuming. And
They'd probably just take the 7-Eleven stats.
Exactly, for the 7-Eleven iced coffee chillers with sugar. But first of all, neither one of you guys have a guess on the fattest city in America in 2018.
No, because that'll piss people off probably.
No,
my first thought was down south Houston area.
So you're saying people in Houston are fat?
No,
Mississippi.
I heard that one time and I thought that.
Okay,
Houston
so you're saying Houston. Houston is on the list. I mean, this is the top 100. So I mean, obviously, it's going to include just about every city in America, or at least large metro area. Houston's number 53.
Hey, good.
So
for
they're
Houston.
looking pretty good, relatively
what about
speaking.
Orlando?
That's one of those. He's fat, but he's like, dang.
Orlando. How would Orlando? Because I mean, aren't
I
they
don't know.
all?
I just think Florida is just.
Florida is
always on those lists.
Well, that's usually like
the crazy
meth
people
lab
list, yeah.
Or
Yeah, that is
retirees.
yeah.
I'm not seeing Orlando.
There's really no really old fat people, so.
Yeah, they don't make it. That's the other thing.
Yeah, so.
No, you are nowhere close.
New Orleans. No, not no.
New Orleans, obviously on here somewhere. I'm not seeing them.
All right,
there is lots of Louisiana.
You're holding our attention. Get a suspense.
Little Rock.
Oh
See, I never think about Little Rock for anything. It's one of those invisible.
But it's got mountains
I
and
know.
trails.
I know,
Yeah.
but it's just an
rivers
invisible
and-
city. I mean, if I think of someplace I'd want to go in Arkansas, I'm thinking like Fayetteville, right? Really in the mountains, not just kind of there on the edge. But anyway, Little Rock, followed by Shreveport. Then Texas finally makes an entrance at number 3 with the McAllen, Edinburgh
the
Valley region down there. Memphis, Tennessee, Mobile, Alabama, Knoxville, Tennessee, Jackson, Mississippi. You was talking Mississippi a while ago. Then another Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette at number 13, and New Orleans number 30. So yeah, there's lots of Louisiana. I see Oklahoma City at like 24, Tulsa at 19, and we know there's a lot of that in Oklahoma. Mac, you go to Oklahoma quite often. I mean, do you notice the difference?
Not particularly.
I'm telling you, when we went, we took the Griswold family trip this last summer, right? And we're in Minneapolis, and the prevalence, there was bigger stock people, but there wasn't a lot of really it didn't jump out at you, all right? So we drive back through Illinois, we come back through Missouri, come into Tulsa, stop at a gas station because I've got 3 daughters. And, of course, we got to hit every gas station in every county and every town. And we stop at a gas station, and it was like immediate. It's like, yep, we're in Oklahoma. I mean, it was that dramatic where you walked in there.
Normally I notice stuff like that. It's like scan the room. Okay, am I the fattest guy here? Or I'm in the top 10, or if I'm in the right now, if I go in and I see 2 or 3 more people that are fatter than I am, we know that.
But think about that. It makes you feel better if.
No, it doesn't.
Does it?
No.
But you feel like does it make you feel less self-conscious?
Not really.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's because I've long held that a lot of people have gone back, sociologists and whatnot, have gone back and said that all the don't do drugs, where they kept putting all the statistics out there in the 80s, that it actually increased the amount of drug use, because if they figured 40% of people are using marijuana, then, hey, it can't be that bad, or maybe I need to try it. What am I missing out on? And, now they're saying 40% of the U.S., just a shade under still, 40% is now classified as obese, with 70% being overweight or obese. And I think there's an element in there of, we don't want to fat shame. We don't want to body shame. I'm not talking about that.
We can keep that in this podcast.
We'll shame you here. But it's the idea of we feel better if, I'm not the only one. It's we lower our standards to those around us, or we raise our standards to those around us, however it may be. And if everybody around us is overweight or obese, there's not the you don't feel as consistently self-conscious. The other day, Jen, I put on a pair of shorts. We was doing some work around the house that I hadn't worn in a while. They were uncomfortable. Now, my gut reaction immediately was to go swap out. But I was like, no, I'm going to keep these on. I've increased.
Your punishment?
It's keep it top of mind. It was a weekend, so I'm more prone on the weekend to let my diet be a little more lax. And it was, hey, you know what? And I ate better that day. And I've increased my mileage. I've started running again consistently this week. But it's being intentional, about stuff like that. And I think it does make a difference on when we continually hear, I know I should. Well, it's hard to change a should into a must if we're comfortable in our surroundings with everybody else, if that makes sense. But speaking of fat, sorry.
I told you this is where we
no fat shaming here. So, Mac, you did have a weigh-in. Last weigh-in you did was about 2 weeks ago. Now, tomorrow would be your weigh-in day. We're doing this on a Thursday to accommodate Jennifer's schedule, because all we do is accommodate her.
No schedule shaming here.
No schedule shaming. Mac, you had some sick kids, and then you had some sickness. So the last weigh-in we have was 3/29, which was at the end.
3/29, I wish.
The date 3/29.
Oh, okay.
March 29th, and it was at the end of a 6-week period where you had set a goal to lose 26 pounds over that 6-week period. And so your goal weight for the end of March was 368.
Yeah,
so
I only got to 378.
378. So you 16 pounds over those 6 weeks. And so what? There's that 2.5 pounds a week. And so your towards was right.
Yeah. just not at the speed.
Not at the speed. Okay. How have you been doing since then?
Last week I felt pretty terrible. Also had a birthday. Felt terrible on my birthday, but we got through that. So
growing old is a celebration. Okay, you really need to embrace it. And you
oh,
need to
that's not what I was talking about. I just physically felt bad, physically sick. So I mean, I had my Mexican meal. Oh man, those chips were so good.
And Jen, remember on this
coming off
list,
keto,
McAllen, RGV, number 3.
I had my Mercado Juarez, the North Fort Worth restaurant I love. And then I had, of course, my wife got me nothing but cakes.
His wife's trying to off him.
No, she was just being sweet. But other than that, I was coming off keto, and I'm going to low carb instead of no sugar, low sugar, high protein fruits and vegetables.
Okay.
I'm going to do this for a while.
And when you're saying low carb, though, we're really talking about low starch.
Yeah, I'm talking about, I'm not paying attention to the carbs in, peanuts or walnuts or
vegetables.
I'm just not going to have a sandwich. I'm going to have just protein and then
lettuce.
And then not worrying about. Well, I'll have spinach.
Okay.
Almost every day. So.
Are you drinking that still?
Yeah.
Are we doing any berries?
Yep.
Okay.
Blueberries, blackberries, strawberries, even bananas are such a no in keto. So I threw a banana in there the other day, and my wife's been making a little protein shake in the morning, so we split that, and that's pretty disgusting. But I have that also. But
now, is this just a powder? Or is she throwing other stuff in
there?
Yeah,
it's the powder and it's fruit and powder.
All right.
So we're throwing it in the blender with some ice and stuff like that. So I'm blending a lot of things lately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how often, how consistent are we with our green shakes and getting those the veggies and everything in? Are we daily?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how long have we been daily?
Probably about a week.
Okay. So you started this after you were sick.
After I got
bronchitis.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Because I was wondering. I mean, it'd be good to see over the next, say, 45, 50 days, next month and a half, being consistent with our nutrient intake. And seeing how susceptible you are to sicknesses. Because I know you've had a lot of these last several months, like anytime the kids get something, it seems like you've been catching it.
I only got, it was only last week that I've been sick lately, hasn't it?
No, I mean, but about once a month, it seems like. I may be wrong, but it seems like you've been coming down a little bit with whatever. A little bit. I know you had the flu, as he turns to cough.
Yeah, that was
psychosomatic.
That was very psychosomatic.
But I'm just wondering, because with the keto, you weren't really taking in consistently a lot of the micronutrients. You weren't getting a lot of plant-based fats and a lot of the nutrients that our body needs. So I'm wondering if that made you a little more susceptible.
Well, they say eggs, man. There's a lot in eggs that covers a lot of those bases. And I'm still doing a lot of eggs, but
it doesn't cover the bases with the micronutrients and everything.
Right.
There's things that we can only get from plants that we gotta get from plants, and so I just wondering about the consistency. And
we'll see how that goes.
May make a difference.
And man, I really like keto. I know I say that all the time. I like it just because I'm not hungry, and it's just very
I think
satisfying. So maybe if I come off this, whatever these next couple months, and I will see strides. I mean, from what I'm doing and what I'm eating, we will see movement, and probably more movement than I've seen in the last couple of months.
Yeah.
But it will be at a price.
Well, but I think the and we'll get there in just a second, but I think where you weren't getting as much nutrition as we would have hoped from the keto, most of the fats you were taking were all animal fats.
Yes.
And if you would still incorporate some of the healthier fats, some of the plant-based fats, some of the avocados, some of the seeds.
Man, I wish I loved avocado.
You
Maybe
know,
I can
learn
to do that. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's trying to find those ways so that you're still getting the good healthy fat. It'll help energy, help brain, but that what helps keep the satiety. You know, it's you didn't feel hungry because of the fat intake. And so if you can still, even with going now off keto, but you're still you're staying away from the simple carbs, you're staying away from the starches. So still you can go nuts with avocados, you can go nuts with the seeds and that sort of thing as your fuel source. You'll still be
so you stay. Fine. I can still stay in the plant-based
Absolutely.
fats.
I'd say go nuts with them. Yeah, and it's just really more of a paleo type mentality or Mediterranean type mentality. They all borrow a little bit from each other, but it's good health and it's good brain health too. But it's also immunity, and so that's where I was going a while ago with the idea you were so plant-based or so animal-based with all your fats and not getting all these other things. With not just the antioxidants from the berries, but then also all the immunity benefits of the healthy fats from plant seeds, that sort of thing.
Okay.
And so I would definitely. Are you tracking?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's something we can be looking at and playing with. Now, you said at a price.
Oh, hunger's the price.
Oh, okay. Hunger's the price.
Hunger's the price.
I thought you was leading into exercise that you was going to be doing or the workouts. Okay.
Well, yes, that's also a price.
Okay.
That's also a price. So let's see, workouts. Work out with a friend a couple times a week at her house. She's putting together Emily. She's putting together some workouts for me, like body weight workouts. And then I'm up here at night a lot doing elliptical. Mm-hmm. And then probably the best thing I got going right now is the wake up and walk a mile.
All right.
Thought Jen might like that. And my wife actually helped me with that. She's like, hey, what do you think about doing this? And it's like,
does she go?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, so we right in my neighborhood, I can do a couple things. I can go all the way down the stop sign and come back, or I can go, almost to the stop sign, back to the other stop sign. Mm-hmm. So I can change it up a little bit, and we get about a mile.
So this first thing in the morning?
Yeah, it's 5:15, 5:20 wake up.
Okay.
And then a mile. So.
How long is it taking you guys right now?
You know what? I hadn't looked.
I think it'd be interesting to mark that somewhere in your notes so that you can see the difference 3 months from now, 4 months from now. Either the duration of that time frame for the mile is going to go significantly down, or maybe it's still you're doing 20 minutes or whatever it may be right now, but now your distance covered during that time is going to be going way up.
Yeah, and I'm talking the whole time, so that's good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not.
So what do you want for breakfast?
Keep talking, so I don't have to. So that's good, and that's also led to uptick in steps and everything. So
how many steps are we getting now on a consistent basis?
I actually into last week, I actually set a new goal for myself starting Monday. We always start on Monday, don't we? For 15,000.
Okay.
So I have got 15,000 Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And today's Thursday, so that first mile, helps with that. But that's moving a lot for me.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's a lot. Period. 15,000 is a lot.
So I'm doing 3 times a day something that,
intentional movement. Perfect. And by getting a jump start in the morning, it doesn't make it seem as overwhelming throughout the rest of the day.
Right.
Yeah, and that's
let's see. What am I at right now? I'm at 3,000.
Yeah, 3,000. So and we started
11 o'clock.
Yeah.
So I got a couple more things today that I have to do to hit that.
No, and I think it's perfect. It's what I'm always trying to get people to do, because if you do it first thing in the morning, other things don't get in the way. You also get the psychological, emotional benefit out of it. It's not just that our body's producing those chemicals, but then, like we just said, it's now the rest of what I need to accomplish to get my day's goal. It don't seem as overwhelming.
And I have to think about it throughout the day, because I think it was Tuesday. I didn't get to do like a midday thing or something like that. And I got to Wednesday or Tuesday night, and I was up here too long.
Now, Tuesday is the day you work at the church.
Yeah, so I was in the office all day.
What you may look at doing is kind of like what Jen does, where she takes her little 10, 15-minute psychological breaks throughout the day, or maybe she's just trying to get the hell away from me. I don't know. But where she'll go jump on a treadmill or go jump outside, create some micro breaks within that day, or maybe during your lunchtime or something.
So I looked at it yesterday, because I hadn't looked at it. What is 15,000 steps, and it's about 7.5 miles or something like that. So another thing, my feet have been just it helped. I can't tell right now because I had last week off my feet, so I can't tell where I am, in the big scheme of things as far as feet goes. But I bought some new shoes, and it's not a plug or anything. But I bought New Balance 990s.
Okay, so you bought some New Balance. Now, sponsorships are available for the podcast. So.
And they seem, I'd been a Dyad Brooks fan for a while, and I did that a lot. But they break down really fast, of course, with my weight. Any shoes do.
Yeah.
But we'll see how these hold up. But as of right now, and we had pretty good week already, my feet are holding in there, and I did get some. I think I iced them one day.
That's what I was about to ask. Okay.
I iced them one day, and so we'll see how the shoes hold up and see how my feet are holding.
Yeah, I'd definitely be consistent with the icing, even if you don't necessarily feel like you need it. I would just stay ahead of it. Jen, you'll love this. Actually, you won't care. But out there at the Jailbreak Ranch, we've been working on a few extra obstacles, and one of the things I did this week, Mac, was there was one of those old, smaller, stock tanks, and it was a little rusty at the bottom. So they have that Flex Seal. Have you seen the commercials where they put it
on a boat?
On a screen door that becomes a boat.
Yeah.
I apparently didn't do it right, but I put that down on it, and then yesterday we took some Rust-Oleum and repainted the entire inside, and so that's the whole purpose, to have an ice bath. So whenever Jen gets done with her ice chiller 7-Eleven, she can go jump in the ice bath. It'll be awesome.
I'm not doing that.
Okay, maybe next show.
Oh, that's one of those trends I will never do.
You know what? We need to do the podcast from the ice bath.
Oh, no.
Just,
wow.
We'll just
electricity could be an issue. Make sure we have battery power and everything, But no, so anyway, but definitely ice, anything you can do to stay ahead of any type of inflammation, from the stress of the activity, now that you're increasing the activity so much. So last week when you were sick, you didn't get a whole lot of activity, but the week before you were moving a lot, but that's pre the new shoes, right?
Yes.
And so.
Yeah, I got the shoes from a birthday, so.
Okay. And so.
Well, but I also need to
Mexican
stay on
food and shoes and a bundt cake.
Yeah. So here's some calories. Here, go burn them off. But check back with me on the shoes. Make sure I don't wear them too long. I'd like them to last a little bit, but
don't be afraid to wear them out.
No, I meant I wear them out too far.
Yeah.
And then I just
stick with them too long,
yes.
and then. Yeah, then end up having foot issues that then linger even with new shoes, and then it can create a downward spiral on all that. So you had a goal that was through the end of March, and we've just briefly touched. You have a goal that you had started whenever you started working out with Emily, and when was that, about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago?
Yeah, something like that. I was at 384 when I started with her.
Okay, and that's a 90-day competition type deal.
Yeah.
And so
I'd like to get 50 off.
Okay. And so you're 3 weeks into that, and
behind schedule.
Well, but until you weigh in tomorrow, you don't know exactly where you are within that.
But I didn't do anything last week, so we'll see. I don't think this week, even if I do, I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, did you eat much last week? You said you didn't.
Yeah, not really. I mean, the birthday and had a couple of the cheat meals, but nothing that.
So, Jen, do you see this? He gets off keto. He goes and has a bundt cake and Mexican food.
Yeah,
and the next thing you know, he's sick for a week.
They might be.
Yeah.
Seriously.
No, I'm only being a little facetious, but I mean, yeah, it's they talk about the keto flu getting onto it, but then also reintroducing things that you haven't been taking in, and how your body responds, especially.
It's so easy, just getting into this new routine. It's so easy to when sugar's not an option, even when you're like everything. It's a no. It's a 99.9% no. You know. And then you're like, okay, I can have a little bit. Well, how much is a little bit in your coffee?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm out of heavy cream. I don't need to go buy heavy cream. Okay, I'll just use whatever, and then you you use whatever's in the house or whatever's, at work or anywhere else. You're like, oh man, I just had a bunch of sugar in my coffee. I can feel it.
Now, are you still like this week? Now that you're back full throttle, are you? What are you putting in your coffee?
This morning I had it black.
Okay.
Just because there was nothing in the fridge.
But that helps, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't have a choice.
Yeah, but. So what do I need to put in my coffee, Jen?
Black. I mean, I'd stick with it. Why? Because otherwise, what you're going to be doing is you're trading your mile walk for the little bit of extra flavor you're putting in there.
Definitely don't want to do that.
And so, I would just stick with, or I mean, if you're needing some, the heavy cream is not bad as long as you just have a little bit in there,
I read about coconut milk, like unsweetened coconut milk.
Because you just need something to cut the.
It's not bad.
Tang down a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would look into that, and something like that just non-calorie, particularly if it's a natural, not something that you may still have the same body reaction to it.
But we got some chickens a few weeks back. They're getting big. They hadn't got eggs yet, but I'm looking forward to that.
So
In the mornings with my black coffee is fresh eggs.
Fresh eggs. Now, if we can start growing some coffee beans out there, you'll be all right.
That's right.
Coffee and eggs. Now, Jen, have you done much studying or research into dietary-wise on, like, the energy quotient of different foods, like the megahertz that's actually in? I mean, a calorie is a measurement of energy, of heat. But now I've been doing I'm just barely sticking my toe into this.
So that's saying I'm about to say something I know nothing about.
I know. All I know is more than you guys, and so that makes me the expert at the table. I am the one-eyed man. But it's very interesting in the idea whenever the actual energy, the life within different foods, and then how that equates to energy levels and then alkalinity and all these other things. And I'm going to start researching that a little bit more. And as I've increased, I know a huge difference for me whenever I plow a bunch of chard and spinach and kale and start my day drinking that. The energy, I mean, it's almost like you can feel the life force,
My wife says that all the time. She's like, I gotta get my shake.
Yeah.
Or I don't feel good.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'll be completely off, and then it's like I said, I want to research and learn a little bit more about that, because we have gone from 20 years ago when I started personal training, it was all about calories in versus calories out, and it didn't matter what the calories were from. Then, well, no, maybe it's this. Well, no, maybe it's that. And we're still learning, but we're also still learning that different bodies and different people respond differently to different things, whereas keto may be great for some people, it may not be for others. There's certain truisms we know, i.e., like you said, sugar a while ago. Sugar, we know that maybe we all have different tangible effects from it, but we all have negative physiological effects from it. And, where one may be skizzed out mentally, the other one may not. That's neither here nor there. but it's detrimental to our organs and everything else. So we know there's certain truisms, but there's a lot of things that we're still figuring out and still learning. And then I'm sure there's things that we're saying is dead set. This is science today that will 5, 10 years, 20 years from now go, oops, like the doctor that used to be smoking with the pregnant woman in his office and have a Lucky Strike. It'll help with the anxiety of pregnancy, But it's the smartest people today, and then we find out that new evidence tells us we're not that smart.
I got a keto mojo in the other day. You know what that is?
Okay, now that's your blood thingy.
Yeah. And so at the last week of the keto thing, I got to take a reading for the first time.
So how does this work? Just walk us through.
You just prick your finger. It's you feel like a diabetic when you do it. When you prick your finger and you put it on this little strip and you load it in the machine. It tells you, the level there.
The ketones in the blood?
The ketones. So the last measurement I took was 1.5. I only took 1.5 because I was at the end of the keto thing. Finally came in. And which was really good. Mm-hmm. It's a really good ketone level and everything. So, but it also, I was like, oh man, I had a Coke Zero like an hour before I did this. I was like, is that going to mess it up? So that goes to what you're saying, that and then I looked up a few different things and people were taking their measurements or eating a certain type of sugar replacement. Mm-hmm. And having totally different readings.
Yeah.
Well, they say this doesn't mess with your blood sugar, and it spiked hers, but it didn't do anything to him. And so I think with all these little whiz pop gadget things, we can
that'd be a lot of fun.
We can start.
Interesting, because it's things that aren't necessarily sugar that our body interprets and responds to as sugar, And for a lot of people, they just don't realize where the sugar is. Like you talked about the shredded cheese.
Oh, yeah.
Just the hidden places like that. Of course, a little more blatant was about 6 weeks ago. My dad and his wife were over and was having breakfast, and his wife was bragging about how my dad's 78, okay, and he has some shakes that look like Parkinson's. That a lot of it has to do with probably diet for him. And they was bragging about how they were cutting out sugars. Now, both of them had cups of orange juice that were like 24-ounce, big, humongo cups there. Oh, no, yeah, we've cut out a lot of sugar. We don't hardly have any sugar anymore. I'm like, what do you think that cup is?
Yeah.
They don't talk to me about sugar anymore. So.
Speaking of spikes, where do you sit on the old Adderall and medicine and?
No, I mean I
know you mentioned that a little bit the last time.
So whenever I first went off, remember I felt great. I felt like myself for the first time. The first week I had the kind of a crash that weekend where I felt miserable. There was about a week transition. Then I've been feeling really, really good, and I can track everything according to my diet that day.
Okay.
If I'd say screw it and I go ahead and have something I shouldn't, then it's no bueno. But like this morning, I had once I got done with my workout, I had an omelet and there was a little bit of some shredded potatoes there with it. Fine with that. Now I won't eat any breads. Breads will get me rolling. Fruit, I tend to be fine. It's the simpler the starch, is what will send me to where I.
Okay, so right now, what are you're just concentrating on keeping it
and no sugar, no
level.
Grains. Yeah, no sugar, no grains.
The diet.
If I do, it'll be in the evening. And so if I have any type of breads or something, I don't eat a lot of those anyway, but in the evenings I'll be a little less because I'm not having to be as dialed in. Of course, last night I was up making maps for Decatur till 10:30, and I'd had some bread type substance with my meal, but I was fine. But I wouldn't say if I was sitting down trying to write something, it would be a little bit more of a struggle for me. But no, yeah, definitely can tell a huge difference. And the more I watched a Netflix deal a couple weeks ago called Take Your Pills. Did I talk to y'all about that? So this documentary the title I believe is Take Your Pills. And pretty much Adderall, it's what it's following. And I didn't realize it's a banned substance for Olympic sports, for NFL, it's a performance enhancing drug.
Yeah.
And I know when I first started taking it, I'd taken it once before I went for a run, and I'm like flying.
You told me about that.
Yeah. And so I got to where I wouldn't take it prior to, because my heart rate would get up and stay up, and that's one thing I need to go do is go see what my resting heart rate and blood pressure and everything else is now that I'm about a month or more out of my system. But I drink less caffeine. I'm looking for less stimulants because I'm not chasing a high like I was, and I'm having to get my nutrition. That's where, like I said, I'm really wanting to learn more about the energy quotient, in different types of food, because I can tell a huge difference whenever I eat certain things energy-wise. And then also, you talk about the hunger. I don't feel hungry whenever I have my shake in the morning, and if it's full of some berries and then my greens, and then if I put some flaxseed, I won't be hungry till 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And at that point, I'm fine with some trail mix or something, something small, and then I'll have dinner. Mornings like today where I hit a weight workout, well, then I go ahead and try to make sure I'm getting in more protein, but then I probably won't be hungry till later. Now, if on the weekends, my kids force me at gunpoint.
Yeah.
At gunpoint.
Kids will do that.
To go to the donut shop occasionally. And if I have a donut in the morning, I'm not only skitzed all day, but I am starving all day. I can go back home and have my green shake, all right, and it doesn't matter. I'm going to be starving. It's just once I set that train in motion, it's a constant. It's like, feed me, feed me, feed me, feed me. And so that's why I think mornings are so incredibly important, whether it's, getting started with exercise, getting started with the proper nutrition, because it just makes a huge difference on the rest of the day. But also one of the, when we talk about me not looking for the stimulants, I'm in the process of weaning myself off and cutting out tobacco use, my chewing tobacco.
All right.
And Jen, I had a Mac moment this week. So I've been formulating this plan. I'm getting ready to do like a 3 or 4 day, basically a juice detox. And as I'm detoxing, everything out of my system. And so I've been, getting this plan all put together. And then the guy I'm working out with in the morning, a couple days ago, he comes over out of the blue. He knows nothing about this. Hey Tim, I got some motivation for you for the quitting dipping. And he starts laying all these different things out. And my initial response, Jennifer, was, I can't quit this week. I can't.
That's funny.
It was I channeled my inner Mac, okay, my QAH, and everything in me was like,
nobody's gonna tell me to do it right now.
well, crap! Now I gotta wait another 2 weeks. But yeah, so
just because he said that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's I don't know if it's I guess it's the rebel in the personality.
Way we're wired.
And it's just like, you just hadn't said anything. Now the flip side is, why would I deprive someone else who's well-meaning?
Absolutely. That's the sad part of it.
I know that. Yeah, that's the a-hole side of it. It's you're depriving somebody else of the opportunity to enjoy your triumph by trying to
it's selfish is what
it's
it
very
is.
selfish. You're very selfish, Mac.
Yes.
And when I'm like you, I'm very selfish.
That's absolutely right.
It's all Mac's fault. Well, we want to thank you for joining us today. If you would like to follow Mac's story a little more closely, you can follow it on Facebook at Relentless Road, although Mac is trying to find a way to get around Facebook. He wants to stick it to Mark Zuckerberg. And so you can find him at Relentless Road on Facebook. You can also find the podcast on YouTube, and it's Relentless Road on YouTube, iTunes, Relentless Road. Give us some feedback, hit subscribe, share this message with your friends and family. And if you have a topic or a question, feel free to shoot Mac a message on Facebook until he finds an alternative. And we can see if we can cover some of those things here on the episode. And we hope today that we've inspired you as you continue to inspire us.